Hey friends, today we are going to make something so fun. So we're going to put photographs onto tumblers. So I'm going to show you how to put photo prints of your kids, of your dog, your family, whomever onto a tumbler. Great idea for gifting, great idea for you, great idea for sports, great idea if you are selling your sublimation, projects and crafts and things to others. So we are going to go beginning to end. I'm going to talk to you about the right paper, the right ink, the right tumbler. We're going to talk about printer settings. We're going to talk about the template. I'm going to show you how to put the photograph into the template. It's very easy actually, and it's a ton of fun. So let's go ahead and hop to the craft table and let me show you what we're working with today. By the way, if you are new here, you are crafting with Kim Byers. I hope that you'll hit that subscribe button, and everything that we're doing today is down in the description below. I have links to everything so you can find everything easily. All right, let's go. Okay, so here we are on the craft table, and these are the things that we're going to use today. So I want to start out by saying that today's video is sponsored by Hippo. So Hippo offers beautiful sublimation inks. It's something that I have personally been using for over a year now. Love the ink. When we get over to the printer, I can show you some of the inks and actually how to refill your printer. So I'm going to put up above my video for converting an Epso EcoTank to a sublimation printer using Hippo ink. Okay, so we are going to be using Hippo paper. We are going to be using Hippo ink. We are going to be using the new Hippo tumbler. This tumbler is really cool, I have to say, because it offers something the others do not. It has this really great non-slip bottom. So once you've sublimated your tumbler, you're then going to be able to take this, peel this off, and place it onto the bottom of your tumbler. And I personally have granite countertops, and I use a tumbler every single day, and I don't like the clank that you get whenever you don't have something like this, a non-slip on the bottom. It just tinks. It's a personal thing, but I think it's an amazing feature to this new tumbler. Not only that, but they're also going to give you a brush to clean that straw. So I think that is amazing as well. Okay, in addition to that, I'm going to use my fabric ruler to measure everything. I'm going to use a press mat just to make sure that I don't damage my table. I have my heat tape. I have a straight edge cutter. We're going to cut out the design once we get it off the printer. And I have a microfiber cloth. So this is what I'm going to use with a little bit of alcohol to clean my substrate before we press. Okay, so let's pop into my computer and let me show you these designs. Okay, so here we are in canva.com, canva.com. So Canva is a free tool that you can use, and I have a full tutorial on Canva and sublimation. I'll put that video up above so you can go step by step. But basically, long story short, you find a template or you design a template. You could do that in Canva if you want to, but I've linked up a bunch of templates down below that you can grab, and you bring those in, and that's what this is this is a template that I purchased and brought in. And then it comes in flat. So if you move this around, see how that is a picture basically over a picture. So all you have to do is you go up to position, and then you just send the template to the back. And then you bring images on, and you just upload them and you bring them on. You can scale them down, make them different sizes, whatever you want to do. You kind of position them over the area where that photograph is supposed to be. And once you have them where you think, then you click on that background image and you position it and you bring it to front. Now this is really important. Sublimation has to be mirror imaged. So what you're going to want to do is save that, share it, save it to your desktop, and then bring it, upload it back into Canva. And then once you have it in Canva, and you could go up to flip, and then you're going to flip it. And because you brought it back into Canva, it's one static flat piece. So the images and everything's going to flip together. So you would just flip that design or mirror image it. Download that back to your computer, and that is the one that you're going to print. It is literally that simple, guys. Okay, so this is my image on my desktop. Now what I want to do is I want to go File, Print, and it's going to bring up my dialog box. So I want to check and make sure I'm going to the right printer, and then I want to make some tweaks and changes. So when you look at your preview, if you see that it has scaled it to 97% like mine has, you want to make sure that that's 100% because you already did all of your scaling in Canva. Right? The next thing you want to do is like a media quality. Everybody's dialog box looks different, but look for something that says media quality or media type. So what I want to do is I want to not do auto select. I want to tell my printer that I am printing on a photo matte paper. And what that's going to do is automatically take my quality to best because it thinks I'm printing a photograph, which I am, but you're going to do this with any kind of sublimation, even if it doesn't have a photograph in it. And if you don't see that, you just want to make sure that you're selecting the best possible quality print that you can. These printers will hold back ink if they think that you're just printing a document for work. But if you tell that you're printing a photograph, it will give you all the ink, and you want all the ink for your sublimation prints. Okay, so once you have those things selected, go ahead and print. Okay, so here back on the craft table with our print. It turned out fantastically. One thing I want to remind you guys who haven't done sublimation or haven't done it very much, your print is going to be somewhat muted. So heat brings out the color. So even though you're like, oh, that looks, you know, pretty colorful, it will be more vibrant once it gets to the actual tumbler. So I just want to remind you guys of that. The other thing is when you bring your design into Canva and then you flip it like we did, sometimes you can get them slightly off center. So it's great to have a paper trimmer where you can trim out that design and make sure that your top and your bottom is absolutely perfectly straight so that you can literally just like tap it down on the tumbler so that you can make sure that everything is, you know, perfect. So what we want to do now is we just want to take our paper trimmer, we want to trim out each of the sides. We want to trim off the top, trim off the bottom, and at least one side so that when you wrap it, you make sure that you're not overlapping any white onto your design. Okay, so now our design is trimmed out. So I've trimmed off the top, the bottom, and one side, and so now that's going to wrap perfectly around my tumbler. The next thing that we want to do is we want to clean our tumbler. So we're just going to move these out of the way, bring in our tumbler, and I'm going to use the microfiber cloth and some alcohol. Okay, so with the microfiber cloth, what we want to do is we want to take a little bit of alcohol and then we just want to clean our substrate. So you want to make sure you get all those fingerprints off. If you use lotion when you craft, that kind of thing, you just want to make sure that you don't have anything, any residue on your substrate. So now once that is cleaned, and you're going to set it aside for a second to dry. Okay, so next up we want to wrap our design. So now that we've done the hard part, we have the design ready, we've trimmed everything out, this part gets really easy. So all you need to do is you take your design and we want to wrap it around, making sure that we are straight on the bottom, straight on the top, and that we don't overlap anything. So what we're going to do is just roll up our design, making sure that that one piece that we left on is on top. And then we're just going to tap it down. And so if you look at the design, there is some extra. These designs, typically when you purchase them, they have a little bit of extra on the top and the bottom. So it is slightly taller than you need it to be, but that's great because what that's going to do is give you a nice bleed off so you don't have to worry about the design stopping short. So now that we have that, you want to make sure that you get heat resistant tape. You cannot use Scotch tape or anything else. It has to be heat resistant so that it doesn't leave a residue and that it doesn't burn and make a sticky mess on your tumbler. So now what we want to do is we just want to grab a piece of heat tape, and you want to make sure that this is very secure. So no wrinkles, no bubbles, as tight as you can possibly get it. And there is no shame in retaping if you mess up. And so we want to put two really good pieces of tape. And the next thing that we want to do, now that we have this attached and making sure that there's, you know, no wobbles or anything like that, like it's a good firm wrap, we want to put on our butcher paper or our parchment paper. So I'm just going to grab my ruler and a pair of scissors. I just want to make sure that I'm getting some pieces that are a little taller, so like roughly 8 inches, 8.5 inches. And I'm going to get 3 of those. Okay, so now that I have these, what I want to do is I want to start wrapping my tumbler. And make sure that you wrap it as tightly as you can. Okay, and so then we're going to secure that with our heat tape, and we're just going to keep wrapping. This is honestly the most important part. All the other things up to this was so easy. You don't want to get any slippage on this because you don't want to have any ghosting. Ghosting is what happens when your design moves. And so I like to be very careful with this and then just go back. And the nice thing about this being open is I can see my design there and I can see that it is still in place and that it hasn't shifted. Okay, so we have wrapped it, we have secured it with heat tape. I might put one more piece right there and we are ready to get our heat press. Okay, so I have the tumbler press on the table. We have our Skinny tumbler. I forgot to tell you guys about these heat gloves. You absolutely have to use heat gloves. This thing is so hot. You do not want to risk burning yourself. And as I mentioned before, this is my pressing mat, and I'm just going to use it to put my tumbler on while it's hot for it to cool. Okay, so I've heated up the tumbler press to 356 degrees for 60 seconds. Okay, so before we get started, the other thing I want to remind you is sublimation needs to be in a well-ventilated area. So if you do hear a little bit of a hum in this video, it's because the ceiling fan is on and the window is open. So what you want to make sure is that you're not breathing in those chemicals. Okay, so we're going to take our very well-wrapped Skinny tumbler. I'm going to insert it in the side. And I'm going to put tape up because I want to know where that is so that I'm going to have to rotate it one time. So we're going to close the handle. So for tumblers, you want to do a light pressure. So this actually can get really, really tight pressure. So this is a fairly light pressure, and then it automatically starts the countdown. So there's nothing that you have to do once you close the handle. So we're gonna let that count down, and then we're going to open it up and slightly rotate it and do it again. And then we're going to be ready to allow it to sit. Okay, and so that is our timer. You're not going to miss that. And so then you just hold, it jars just a little bit because it's such, you know, it's pressure. But you open that up, and then what we want to do is we want to turn this slightly. And then we're going to close it and do it again. Okay, so our second press is done. I'm just going to open that up. We're going to slide it, pick it up and slide it out the side. And then we are going to set it on that pressing mat to cool. Okay, so while that tumbler is cooling, I could not resist. This is so stinking cute. I'm really excited about trying this out. So this is just a full color print that we are going to put on our hippo tumbler and see how this goes. Okay, so with the tumbler press out of the way and this cool to the touch, let's go ahead and unwrap and see what we got. Okay, here we go. Oh, guys, look how beautiful that came out. Oh my goodness, I love it so much. I love it so much. Now, do you see with the paper that most of the ink came off onto the tumbler? Like, this is a really good, this is good. This is very good because you didn't have a ton of ink left on the paper. It sublimated very, very well. It turned out phenomenal. Guys, I am very impressed with the hippo tumbler. It sublimated so well. This is going to be a fantastic gift. Now let's go ahead and see if our other one turned out well. Our little bonus one for Christmas. I have been wanting to do this design. Let's see. Yes, cool to the touch. beautiful is this? The little dripping at the top. Oh my goodness. Love, love, love. Eee. Now I feel like I need to make everybody in the family one of these. This is phenomenal. Okay, so whether you want to make something beautiful for Christmas, or if you want to do a fantastic photo design that is great for gifting, the Hippo Tumbler is going to be your tumbler. This is so, so sweet. Okay, so before you leave me, if you did not convert a sublimation printer and you would like to do that, hop over and check out this next video. I also have another video on sublimating glass in your tumbler press.